Part 2 of our trip starts out with a 213-mile, 4-hour drive from Monroe, Michigan over to a Harvest Host location in Mercer, Pennsylvania called Rachel's Roadhouse Tavern. Harvest Host is a network of places like wineries, breweries, distilleries, museums, golf courses, and other attractions where you can camp overnight for free. We've been members for 3.5 years now and finally decided on this trip that we would take advantage of our membership. Rachel's Roadhouse had a great restaurant and we had a fantastic dinner while visiting with some longtime close friends who live nearby. We were able to camp in our parking lot across the street for the night. From Mercer, Pennsylvania, we traveled over to a KOA in DuBois, Pennsylvania, and then up to Horseheads, New York, where we stayed at another Harvest Host location called the Wings of Eagles Museum. We visited with family for a couple of days and also visited an apple orchard and then a bison ranch, but unfortunately they were closed the day we arrived. The following day we took a drive up around Seneca Lake and stopped by a roadside produce stand, but I passed on the grape pies. From Horseheads, we made a 3.5-hour, 194-mile drive up to Alexandria Bay, New York, where we plan on taking a couple of boat tours for the Bolt Castle and the Singer Castle. But unfortunately, the Boat Castle had closed the day before we arrived. It appears we need to start making better trip plans. We were able to take a boat tour around the island and see the outside of the castle, and then the following day we were able to tour the Singer Castle, which was really fantastic. We had a great campsite right on the St. Lawrence Seaway where we could watch all the cargo ships going by. In fact, the campground even had this whiteboard where they marked the times of when the ships would pass by. There's also this food truck there that served really great food. It was amazing. I guess they're there all summer, and we got their fish fry one evening with Bang Bang shrimp. Around the campground, they had small cabins you could rent. These are the cabins along through here. Then they had these other ones they called chalets. I guess they were a 2-story building. This was mid-October, so everything was pretty much closed up. Now this is downtown Alexandria Bay. We had gone down here to check out the boat tours through the castles. And we were able to get a couple tickets on Uncle Sam's boat tours. And unfortunately, the Bolt Castle had closed up, I think the day or two before we arrived. And actually, the campground closed up within about 2 weeks towards the end of October. So the first day we just kind of cruised around. We went around the Boat Castle and down the river ways and under I think it's called the Peace Bridge in the border of Canada and the United States. And the second day we were able to take a tour to go visit the Singer Castle, and that was quite an experience. These are all homes along with the called the Millionaire's Row. And I was shocked at that guy up there on that wires walking that bridge. Again, this is more of the Bolt castles. We're coming around the back side of it. Story goes, a gentleman was building this, and his wife passed away, and he just stopped construction, and it was abandoned for quite a few years. We stopped in a visitor center, and then the following day it was a little bit cooler, and there's a happy traveler getting ready to go visit the Singer Castle. This is a dark island coming up, and that's where the Singer Castle is located. And as we debarked, there were several tour guides, and we were assigned this young guy that had a really neat dog. He took it with him every place we went. And of course, mid-October, the whole place was decorated up for Halloween. Now, this fireplace, you look off to the left, there's a hidden passage there. And there's passageways all throughout this castle, all floors. And the purpose was so none of the guests would see the servants or the maids delivering anything. And every place you went, you would see one of these passageways doors open so you could see where they were. All the male servants actually lived out in the boathouse where the kitchen was, and there was a tunnel underground from the boathouse coming over to the castle. I thought this glass was kind of neat with a hand wrapped around it. This is a dining area. At one time, this was turned over to a church, and they were holding church services in there. Another dining room. And there's one of the secret passages where the servants could peek out down and see if the guests needed their drinks refilled or anything. That's what it looked like with the tennis court outside. And we're headed up to another story. And there it is at wintertime. And there's another one of those secret passages inside of a closet. And here's another passageway that went down to a lower floor. Now this was an interesting room because this looks like a desk there. The curved portion in the front was a desk, and the whole thing would pull down and turn into a bed. It was so crowded, I wish I could have gotten better photos of it when they had it all set out. Our guide here is showing us like a spa area, and there's a massage table. And what he was standing in, and you'll see a better close-up, is all full of light bulbs, and that was like a sauna. But it's a damn wonder nobody got electrocuted in it. And we go up to another floor. And another secret passageway. This is where all the maids stayed up on that floor, and they all had to share the same bathroom. Of course, they had a Singer sewing machine. All in all, it was quite an enjoyable day. And we're leaving, headed back to port. We had quite a bit of daylight left, so we took a ride around the area and we went over to this other town and visited this Tibbetts Point Lighthouse. And then stopped by the town of Clayton. And actually what we found out, we went in this one little cheese store here. And they had the original Thousand Island dressings. And apparently in Clayton, New York is where the Thousand Island dressing was developed. All different kinds of cheeses. All these pretty murals on the side of the building. It's a neat little town. From Alexandria Bay, our next destination was visiting more family members in Hopewell, Virginia. The first leg was a 350-mile drive in the rain down to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and then the next day a 4-hour drive down to Staunton, Virginia, and then the following day a 2-hour drive over to Chesterfield, Virginia, where we camped at the Pocahontas State Park for 2 nights, and then over to another Harvest Host location called the Keystone Truck and Tractor Museum in Colonial Heights, right near Hopewell. Walnut Hills is an okay campground, but boy, it sure is kind of tight getting around inside it. From here, we headed off towards eastern Virginia, and we stayed at the Pocahontas State Park in Chesterfield. Now, this is a nice place. We've stayed here several times before, but they only have electric and a water hookup and no sewer hookup, but they do have a dump station. So after we got settled in, we met with our friends and just heard about the Trump Winery. So we headed up to Charlottesville, basically back into western Virginia, and toured the Trump Winery. And this was an awesome place, beautiful. And of course, we couldn't arrive here and leave without having a sampling flight. So we ordered some a little cheese platter and the samples. They had all kinds of Trump items that you could buy, of course. After 2 nights at the Pocahontas State Park, we relocated over to the Keystone Truck and Tractor Museum, which is another Harvest Host membership. And while we were there, we toured the museum. And actually, many of these photos are from our stay there back in June, when I took more photos throughout the museum. So I just included them all in this trip. This was an interesting tractor. It's a 1938 Minneapolis Moline UDLX, and it was the first production farm tractor with a built-in cab. It was designed to operate as a tractor and an automobile. It was equipped with a 40-mile-per-hour road gear and had all the mechanism, instruments, lights, including radio and heater, to allow it to be operated on the road. Gentleman passed away a few years ago. Hand carved all these. Lady says it took him 60 years to make all these model trains. Hard to believe.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty sure stuff. Holy smokes.
Place is big.
Top of one of those.
This is where all the big trucks are. This 1923 Model T was actually built back in the 30s and served as the backdrop for the comedy, country, and western singing duo called Boots and Britches, who toured the country with it for 29 years. I don't remember what year this is, but it's a diamond reel truck with a country package, built basically on the same concept as our modern day truck campers. It was a flatbed truck with a removable 20 to 22 foot completely self-contained camper. Here's a 1926 Mack AC Bulldog. It's a truck that was actually chain driven, and as a very young kid I even remember seeing one of these, I think, delivering coal on the road. Now here's a strange looking truck. It's a 1957 Diamond T with a 450 cubic inch 6-cylinder International Harvester red diamond engine. Some guy from Illinois thought it didn't have enough power, so he installed a 300 cubic inch Buick V8 with a 3-speed transmission onto the front of the truck to give it the additional horsepower he wanted. He ran the second engine's drive shaft right straight through the radiator of the Diamond T, connected it to the crankshaft of the red engine with air controls. Here's an interesting tractor. It's a 1939 German Lanz Bulldog that has a 1-cylinder hot bulb engine. In order to start it, you first had to insert a blowtorch into the Bulldog housing for 15 to 20 minutes to heat the hot bulb cherry red. You then took the steering wheel and shaft out of the driving platform and inserted it into a fitting on the side of the engine. You then turned the steering wheel half a turn to the left, half a turn to the right, and repeating this 3 to 6 times until the engine started. The engine started on diesel fuel, but after you got it started, it would run on used automotive oils, cooking oils, crude oil, and even creosote mixed with diesel. From Hopewell, the next destination was Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. But first we made a stop in Greensboro, North Carolina for one night, and then on down to Pigeon Forge. From Pigeon Forge, it was a long 6.5-hour drive over to Yemassee, North Carolina, where we took a side trip and visited Hilton Head Island, and then we returned home from there. We hope you enjoyed riding along with us on our trip up north. Hopefully we'll make some more later this year.